Hello, time travelers! Recently, this chatbot came out of China called DeepSeek, and it's competing with the likes of ChatGPT and Gemini. But maybe you feel a little leery about using something that's running on a Chinese server. But maybe you're like me, and you saw a few videos recently about installing it on your local computer, so it's not connected to China at all. But none of the videos show you how to use it in a web GUI. They're all in this weird command line box. This is my look of disapproval. Okay, if you use all your chatbots on the web or whatever, and you don't know why it's important to consider using it this way, let me show you. Here's one article on Reuters. I'll have everything from this video linked in the descriptables below, obviously. Australia bans DeepSeek on government devices, citing security concerns. The Secretary of the Department of Home Affairs, blah, 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 the government. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said DeepSeek posed an unacceptable risk to government technology, and the immediate ban was to protect Australia's national security and national interest. Well, Trump wants to block TikTok in one of his terms, but now in this term, he doesn't want to block it. What do you think about that? Well, what if I could download something that was from China that didn't connect back to China and run it locally? What if I could download different various things, not necessarily from China? And doing this won't give you a virus or anything because you're just downloading an AI model and then running it kind of sandboxed in a thing called Ollama. But you might be saying, like, I don't care, the Chinese, or what's the big risk anyway? Well, here's DeepSeek's privacy policy for their online version. What information do we collect? We collect your information in 3 ways. Information you provide, auto-magically collected information, and information from other sources. Your profile information, your user input. So if you talk to it, or you give it prompts, or you upload files, chat history, and other content that you provide. Could be anything. You can click the link in the description for the privacy policy so you can learn more. Now, I'm going to show you how to install it so you can use it in the command line, but I'm also going to show you how to set it up so you can use it in a web GUI. You go to the Ollama download page and you grab the Windows one. You could try it on Mac OS and Linux. All the tools that I've used today have different ways to set up on these other operating systems, but I'm going to focus on Windows. Once downloaded, you're going to have an installer that looks like this. You just hit install, and it just says extracting files for a while. There's no other configuration or clicking next or anything in this thing, but when it gets to the end, it's just gonna disappear. Watch. It just goes, bonk, gone. What happened? No, like, click finish or anything. It's running down here in this tiny little llama-looking thingy in your system tray. And by default, Windows hides this area, so you're gonna have to hit a little up arrow or caret what's it to make sure it's running. And then hit Windows button R so you get this run box, or you can just open the start menu and type CMD. You don't want any of the other stuff, you just want regular command prompt. Why is my Windows not showing me regular command prompt? I don't know. Well, here's a screenshot from one of my other computers running Windows 10 so you can see what it looks like. And Windows 11 actually has a visible search box right away when you open the start menu, and this is a screenshot from doing a search for CMD there. But anyways, Windows button R opens this box and you can type CMD and hit enter. Then you have this. I recommend that you already have a folder set up for your Ollama models, and I'll show that to you in a minute. Actually, I don't know what past me was thinking. I need to show you how to do this before we do the next step. You know, future me, different day, different shirt. The reason why we want to do this is so that Ollama doesn't download all the models to the default location, which is the same drive as you're running Windows on, and it'll get filled up that way. If you only have one drive and you're just experimenting, you just want to do this one model, you should be fine, but hopefully you have another drive that you can put your large language models that you want to test on. All right, I've opened up File Explorer. Keyboard shortcut is Windows button E if you want to try it that way. Here's my D drive, which is a 2 terabyte hard drive. Open that up. I made this folder that says AI_stuff, and I organized, put everything in there, and I made a folder just for Ollama. And inside of there, you make a folder called Models. Don't put anything in this folder because Ollama, when it downloads a model, it will make this blobs folder and manifests. And you see, here's the ones I've downloaded. And if I do Ollama list, it shows you this model, which is 1.1 gigabyte, makes these 5 blob files. And there's this one big one with, you know, the main models in there. So what you want to do is Open up the models folder that you just made, and then you want to put your cursor up here, and if it's not selecting all, hit Control-A so it selects all, hit Control-C to copy it. Then in the Start menu, you want to type in Advanced so that you get this search result that says Advanced System Settings. But anyways, I'm going to open that up, and you're going to get this menu. You should be in System Properties, Advanced tab, and then hit the button that says Environment Variables. Now, it's up to you if you put it in the top part or the bottom part. The top part is variables that only affect your Windows login, and the bottom part is for everybody. And as a habit, I always use the bottom one. But anyways, I'm going to go down here, and I already have it in here. And if I didn't, I would have to hit New. But I'll just hit New so I can show you what it looks like. In here, you want to type Ollama _models. And then press Tab to go to the next box or click down there, and then paste in the path to the models folder that you made earlier, like this. And then you will hit OK. I'm not going to hit OK because I already have it set up in there. Then you actually have to restart the computer for this to apply. You can restart now or restart later when you're done installing other stuff, but some stuff won't work. Like, make sure you do not try to download models until after you restart. When you restart, you can verify that it's working by typing this command, echo space %, and then the name of the variable, in this case, Ollama models, and then another %, and press enter, and it will respond with the path that you made earlier. Now I have another folder open in File Explorer because I want to show you something. Ollama puts itself in the startup to start with Windows every time you restart the computer, which is fine, but if you don't want it to, you have to go to this folder and delete this shortcut. And it's C users, your username, app data, roaming, Microsoft Windows, start menu, programs, startup. And when Ollama installs itself, it actually installs to your user profile in C users, username, app data, local programs. And if we check the properties, it's about 5 gigs. So keep in mind that it's going to use 5 gigabytes on your operating system drive just to install. So now we're going to download the model with this command. It's Ollama pool. So if you ever want to download any model that Ollama has available, it's just Ollama pool and then the whole name of the model. And it's DeepSeek R1 1.5b and hit enter. That's what it looks like downloading. Okay, to show all the models that you've downloaded afterward and to verify if you've downloaded it correctly, you type Ollama and then list. But I'm going to show you a hot tip for downloading models without having to type all this junk. Go to Google and Google this, Ollama Library. And then click Library. And they've got a bunch of models here that you might want to try, but for now, we're just going to DeepSeek R1. Scroll down a little bit and change it to the model you want to try. And right here, it shows you the size that it's going to take up on your drive to download it. So let's say we were going to try the 7 billion model, the next one up. Click that. Then over here, they have the command to download it. And you just click this copy button. And I'm sorry, this is the command to run it. If you don't have it downloaded yet, it will download and then run it. So this would be a good option if you have not downloaded it yet and you want to run it, but you know, okay, I'm about to go to lunch or I'm going to go sleep and when I wake up, I'm going to play with it. But if all you want to do is download it, then use the left arrow on your keyboard to go over and delete and backspace button to get rid of the word run and type pool and press enter. And you see now it's downloading the 7 billion parameter version of DeepSeek R1. You can even batch download a few models if you're going to work or going to sleep or whatever, so you can better utilize your time and not just be staring at the computer waiting for one thing to happen. This is my main editing rig, and it's got 128 gigabytes of system RAM, so I'm going to be trying more of these models. But I made this downloader.batch file that I ran last night. And if I right-click it and hit edit, see, just made a file like this with all the different models I wanted to try. And then ran it. But in Windows 10, first you have to go to Options, and then View, and then uncheck Hide Extensions for Known File Types. In Windows 11, I'll make a screenshot or something later and stick it in the video. But you need to make it a .bat file. And any of the stuff that you see in this video, you can customize yourself and put in your own .bat files, like this run docker command, so that I can get the GUI loaded. Sorry, past me. My brain was deep fried because I already spent a week learning all this stuff, and then I had all these obstacles while filming the video. And I ended up not actually showing this part, which is how to make a batch file. I will have example batch files in the tier 2 folder on my Patreon for anybody who wants to use them or modify them to their own needs, or you can just watch this video and I'll show you how to make them. And tier 2 patrons and tier 3, obviously, since they're above tier 2, will also have access to this document with screenshots how to do all this stuff. What you do while you're in here, there's a couple ways, I'll show you both, but you need to be in your folder where you want to make the batch file, and you right click and hit new, and then text document. And in Windows 11, you can find it. Just find new and then text document. It's just in a different place. And then in this case, I'm going to make it example.bat. Actually, let's say I'm going to call it downloader.bat. Yes, to change the file extension because you're changing it from txt to .bat. Right click that and find edit. Again, in Windows 11, it might be different. You might actually have to hit more and then edit. In Windows 11, you right-click and then choose Edit with Notepad. And now, let's say I wanted to get the 7 billion one. I'm going to copy that and paste it into the batch file. And let's say I also wanted the 8 billion. Copy and paste it onto the next line. And I want the 14 billion. Copy. And I don't have to limit myself to that. I can go back, find some coding one. DeepSeek Coder. Let's see if I want to do that, have it help me write code. Ooh, 33 billion. I wonder if that would run. You know, copy, paste that in. Hit enter at the end so you don't have it with the batch file ending without it actually completing the last line you put. That's a thing that batch files do is they start at the top and go to the bottom. And if you didn't press enter and give it a blank line at the end, then it might not finish this last line. You need to replace all these runs with pull. And since I have more than one, I'm going to use the Control H menu. Windows 10, it looks like this. Windows 11, it's at the top, but it does the same thing. You put in the word run and replace it with pull and click replace all. Now you can press Control S to save it and Alt F4 to close it and run that. Or run it later when you're ready. Like I was saying, I'll have examples of these other batch files in my Patreon. But a couple of these commands will be in the descriptables of this video. So you can copy paste them into command line if all you're doing is running the command or making your own batch file. While that's downloading, I want to show you, it downloads these blobs. I don't like it when one of my AI tools downloads files that I can't see what they are. This is my look of disapproval. Ollama does have a way to allow you to manage these later on, and I'll show you how. All right, this is me from the future, and I'm going to show you how to check what models you have downloaded and how to delete certain ones if you don't want them. The command, which you can type from anywhere, this folder does not need to be in the same folder as where your Ollama models are. You type Ollama list to show them all. Let's say I wanted to get rid of this one. Just click on the last character and drag the mouse over to select the name, then press Ctrl-C to copy and type Ollama RM space and then paste the name of it, or you could have just typed it and then hit enter. And it's that fast as deleted. Now if I type Ollama list, see the one I deleted was 6.7 billion model of the DeepSeek Coder. And I have the 33 billion and the version 2, 16 billion. And the 6.7 billion is now gone. Now this one takes about 5 minutes to download on all the computers I've tested it on. Your download speed will vary, but the download size for the smallest version of DeepSeek R1 is about 1.1 gigabytes. You can check the Ollama Library for the download size for each of the models. All right, now that I've finished downloading that, I can just run it by using up or down arrow on my keyboard to find the command I just did and then change the pull to run. And then you have this send message. Hello, this is a test of the DeepSeek 1.5 billion model. And then hit enter. And see, I could talk to it. Okay, can you teach me Python? Give me an example of a simple Python script. Okay, print hello. All right, yeah. But in order to exit out of this Ollama environment from here, you have to hit Control-D and then enter. Sometimes you have to hit it twice. Okay. All right, Now for this section of the video, we're going to install a couple of things so that we can access our chatbot via a web GUI. And we're going to need to install a couple of things. And the first thing is Docker Desktop. I'll have the download page linked in the descriptive thingy down below, or you can Google it. And you're going to want to run Docker Desktop for Windows. Here's what the installer looks like. And I just left these two checked. And this part takes a few minutes, unpack all of its stuff. It says you must restart Windows to complete installation. And I did test before to see if I can just load the Docker Desktop app and then run commands. And the commands would fail in weird ways unless I restarted the computer. So we got to restart the computer again. I had problems with installing Docker Desktop on that particular computer when I was filming. When I installed it, it said Docker Desktop stopped. So pay attention. Right now, I'm going to give you a condensed version of all the stuff I learned from reading Reddit threads, reading other threads, talking to AI chatbots, and watching really short clip videos that didn't really explain what was going on. I will have a longer version of this in a separate video coming out later in case you're struggling with a certain spot or you want to get more details. All right, there's my desktop. I'm editing the video, obviously. First thing we want to check is what Windows version you have. You press Windows button R on your keyboard. Gives you the run box. Type WinVer. That's WinVer. W-I-N-V-E-R. Press enter. Then you get this thing that comes up. You need Windows 10 19044 or later. So Windows 11 and Windows 10 are really the same thing. They just made it look more stupider. So just make sure that number right there is 19044 or newer. The next thing is checking a couple of Windows features in a certain menu. All right, I actually have my virtual machine of Windows 11 running while recording this because you can just type features in the Windows 10 start menu, but if you do that in the Windows 11 start menu, it won't show it. You have to, well, it's doing it now because it's got like a search history, but it's best if you put Windows features, and this works in Windows 10 as well. When you see turn Windows features on or off, open that up, and this is the menu that you're gonna see. And I'm just going to show you on the screen what all the stuff you need. .NET 3.5. Hyper-V is optional for some advanced users that may use that feature. Virtual machine platform needs to be enabled. Windows subsystem for Linux needs to be enabled. After installing these, you're going to have to save all your work and close all your programs and restart the computer. What actually was hanging me up on my computer is that you have to enable virtualization in your motherboard BIOS settings. For most Intel motherboards, the setting is called Intel Virtualization Technology. For AMD motherboards, you're most likely going to have to turn on both SVM and CMS. I spent hours of my life trying to figure stuff out, and I kept getting these two mixed up, but it turned out that on at least two of my motherboards, I needed them both turned on. This first one is basically enabling the use of virtual machines on your computer, and the second one is a security setting. I did a video with my son a few years ago regarding getting into the BIOS and turning this setting on because we needed virtualization for something on my computer. You can click the card up here if you want to see that video. In some rare cases, you will need to update Docker Desktop because the version you download from the website is like a main version, and incremental updates are done within the application itself. Only a couple people online reported that they had to do this. There's like this reddish orange text on the bottom right-hand corner of Docker Desktop that tells you there's an update available. When you click on that, it'll take you to another menu, and you're going to have to download the update from there and apply it from that same menu. After doing that, there's an option in Docker Desktop to reload itself. All right, after restart, you'll see this. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the terms of service, which opens a rich text file in the background, and you can't see it because this is always on top. Some stuff of note that I found in here, there's a pricing page, but it's free. But you can click that. I'll just hit accept on this so we can see the pricing page. Use recommended settings, yes. Here is the pricing page. If you scroll down a little bit, Docker Personal is $0 a month. The welcome thing wants you to try to sign in. I ended up signing in on my other computer. Obviously, if you're at home, when you get to this welcome to Docker thing, you're gonna choose personal. or just hit skip. And there is a welcome survey you can skip if you want, and it will ask you to log in, but you can skip that as well. From what I can tell, you don't have to log into Docker Desktop unless you're going to use Docker Desktop to download models. Like with commands like docker pull or docker run, stuff like that. The thing is that I haven't seen DeepSeek models done this way. I've only seen other programs, and the one we're focusing on in this video is Ollama. It's after this part that you may see the message, Docker engine stopped. If you see this, then you need to go back to the part of my video with the timestamp on the screen and make sure you have all the things set up in that section of the video, or Docker won't actually be able to start. This is why I recorded that section with the requirements for Docker Desktop and put that earlier into the video. If this video has helped you in any way, please tell the YouTube algorithm that it's a good video by clicking like and dropping a comment down below. And consider throwing me a few dollary dues on my Patreon. Link in the descriptable thingy below. Maybe I got some benefits on my Patreon that will fancy your tickle. I mean, what? So now we want to get Ollama running in the Docker Desktop, so we need to install something called open-webui. The first thing you want to do is open Docker Desktop because it needs to be running. Here it is in my start menu. I better pin it somewhere. Pin to start. Okay, open Docker Desktop. Because if you don't, you'll get this command. Oh, your command, blah, 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 Docker error, blah, 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 blah. The system cannot find the file specified because Linux engine could not find Docker or whatever. Sometimes Docker Desktop won't pop up after you launch it from the start menu or whatever. So you have to find it down here in the system tray, and it's this icon right here. And you just double click it to bring it up. In my case, I already have open-webui installed in it. That's fine, we're gonna leave that. Once you have Docker Desktop running, you can run this command. I have it in this batch file, so I'm gonna open it up and just copy it over. But I'm gonna have this in the description below and here. See how crazy long that is? There's no way you could read it off this screen. Forget about it. I will have the command for this in the descripticals box below, as well as in my Patreon tier 2 folder. It's got a run command, so it's just like when you're downloading or running a model. If you don't have it yet, it's going to download it before it can run it. So whichever way you get this command, whether it's from the description below or the batch file on my Patreon, you want to highlight it and copy paste it into the command line. And then it's going to download open-webui. And for me, it took over an hour to download, but it only has to download once. So this is one of your go live your life moments and come back and check on it later times. Also, the default location for where Docker downloads it is on your main system drive. And I'm showing you the folder where it goes on the screen. If you pause it, it takes up about 21.5 gigabytes of storage. There is a Docker setting to let you change the location of this, but I didn't figure that out until much later. So I'm not going to be going over that in this video. The first time you run open-webui, you may get a firewall pop-up thingy asking you to allow it. You have to allow Docker Desktop in the firewall settings to access your local network. Do not check the box for public networks unless you know what you're doing. Just click Allow Access at the bottom. All right, now we need to make sure open-webui is running inside of Docker Desktop. There will be a whole line of information that appears in Docker Desktop, and on the left side of it, it will say open-webui. But let's say this was not running in here. It's like, by default, it's already running. Make sure you're on the Containers tab thingy, what's it on the left? You could be on Images or Volumes, and all three of them say open-webui because that's what you installed. But don't get confused. Make sure you're on the Containers one. And I'm going to stop that so you can see what happens when I do this command. Do that. Bam. It's already in use, but it's not playing. So you would go in here. If it's not running, you need to go either way. You need to go in here and check it and hit the start button. So now we're going to run a model, Ollama list. See which ones I got downloaded here. Ollama run. Let's just do the smallest one as an example. Copy that. And press enter to run it. So now that this is running, I can just click the port that I made. It's like showing it on a web port. It'll open it up in a browser. You'll get this. This is open-webui. This will look different if you install a different image. It's called an image, whatever. If when you first click this and it gives you like, I can't access crap page, you get something like this. This is the Firefox version. It looks different in each browser. Who cares? All I did was change the port number to show you an example. You put a slash at the end, and that's a // and the word auth, A-U-T-H, and press enter. And then you'll get this. Again, if this video is helping you, click like and leave a comment below, because I had to do tons of research and nobody said how to fix this. And I paused someone else's video and zoomed in. I was like, oh, it says /auth at the end. Okay, now when you get this page, just go to the bottom and click where it says Get Started. I have this zoomed in so you can see it better. Get started with open-webui, and you have to fill this out. So in my case, Robert McDonald. And before I fill this out, because some of you might be freaking out, why do I have to set up username and password and give it my email? Here's the documentation from open-webui. Why am I being asked to sign up? Where is my data being sent to? It's for enhanced security that blah, 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 blah. What this is doing is making sure that other things on your computer can't see what open-webui is doing inside of Docker. We do not collect your data. All information stays within your server and never leaves your device. So I bet you don't want to forget your password, because if you do, you probably have to figure out how to completely delete open-webui off your system and reinstall it. So I've blurred these parts, but I've got name, email, and password filled out. I'm going to click Create Admin Account. What's new and blah, 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 blah. Now you have this chat page. So let's test this. It says Llama 3.2, but I'm running DeepSeek R1. So that's a bug for me deleting and re-adding it. That's the model I ran last time. So if you run more than one model, you need to use the drop down in the top left corner and choose the one that matches the one that's actually running in Ollama in your command line. Explain to me why I have to install open-webui to use Docker desktop. This thinking is cool. You can see its internal dialogue. We collapse it. And there's a good explanation. Blah, blah, blah. So it works. Now this is the really, really cool part, which makes me want to build a server just for LLM chatbots. Check this out. I'm going to go up here and copy this URL, just this part, and minimize this little thing where I'm remoted into that computer. And there's my video I'm editing right now. Haha, okay, whatever. Open up a browser and paste. Now, it's not on localhost anymore, so I'm going to type the name of that remote computer. Miner_3. Check that out. I have to sign in. So, I'm going to sign in with the same username and password that I just set up a minute ago. And again, it's showing me the wrong model, so I have to hit the drop down. And it's the same list of models that are installed on the remote computer, but they're not running. So click the one that's running. Explain how I can have Docker desktop running on one computer with open-webui and access that in a web browser from another computer. I just showed you how to do it. I'm just doing this so you can see that it works. There's the internal thinking, and it's not using the resources of the local computer. It's using the resources of the remote computer. Now I'm going to touch briefly on a point that I saw on a couple of other videos, which is comparing this to the online version. Let's go to DeepSeek.com. Start now. Now you can hit DeepSeek R1. Help solve reasoning problems, I guess, and when it turns blue, it's turned on. And people were comparing this to the 1.5 billion parameter model on their computer by putting prompts back and forth. That doesn't make any sense. Looking back at the DeepSeek R1 page in the Ollama Library, you've got 7 different models, and this biggest one is 404 gigabytes to download to your computer. And I saw in one video where a guy was running it on a home server that had 512 gigabytes of RAM. But we don't know how many billion parameters this one is. It is probably bigger than the biggest one you can download with Ollama. But I do want to do some tests. So let's try on my machine that's got 128 gigabytes of system RAM, and let me go to performance, see how much I have available. I have 59 in use out of 128. Let's go ahead and try the 70 billion model. I could probably run a bigger one, but this is the computer with the most RAM available right now. So Ollama run. While that's running, I find it interesting and very cool that your chat history is over here on the left. And this is back on my other computer I'm remoted into, and you can expand it like this, and it has a different chat history. So your chat history is local to the computer. All right, that took a few minutes to start up. I'm going to get these 3 greater thans and a blinking underscore. I know I'm ready. Now let's open Docker desktop. Wait for the engine to start up. Make sure this is running. The stop button means it's running, and click that. See, this is what I mean. I said that earlier. You got to put auth at the end. AUTH. Now it wants to load, and I can log in. All right. I was talking to a friend to come up with some funny prompts that the Chinese running run won't want to answer me. Where is and how do I register to vote for government elections in China? Thinking. Does it show me the internal thoughts? No. It's a secret. Oh, it does.
Nope.
Sorry, that's beyond my current scope. Let's talk about something else. Let's zoom this in. Okay. Let's try the 170 billion model. And look, I went from 53 gigabytes of RAM available to 40, so we're using 13 just to run that. In China, voter registration and the electoral process are conducted in accordance with the law. It is so slow. It's making OBS stutter. I don't even know if you get good audio from me right now. All right, I've terminated that and shut down Docker Desktop because it was messing up OBS. What happens if I ask the 1.5 billion parameter model running on a different computer? Thinking, what's the thinking look like? It actually shows me its internal thoughts. They can vote as citizens and guide them through the registration process. Wow. Actually has a link. ChinaDate.gov.cn's address cannot be found. Well, I can't confirm whether or not that's a real website because I'm not in China. All right, online version. What is the best way to free the Chinese people from a tyrannical dictatorship? Am I going to get my account banned? Thinking. Need to figure out a best way to free the Chinese. Bonk. Nope. Let's really trigger it with my next question. What is the best way for Taiwan to declare independence from China? Is it actually going to think each time? Nope. It's just straight to blocking me now. Okay, what makes cherry Kool-Aid red? Let's see if I'm completely blocked now. If it actually, yeah, it's thinking now. Is it secret thoughts? Were you going to show me? What are you thinking about? DeepSeek secrets? Now here we go. Maybe red 40? I think that's a common red dye. I'm dying here. Because it's a reasoning model instead of a large language model, it's trying to reason its answers. All right, here's its answers. While it's still answering that, let's ask it the Taiwan question again. Boop. Nope. Maybe this is just a trigger word. It's not going to answer anything about Taiwan. Taiwan?
Nope.
Hey, I'm right. They don't talk about Taiwan. Shut up. They don't exist. All right, I forgot to record this earlier, so let's do this. What happens if I ask the local version of DeepSeek R1 1.5 billion parameter model the same question about Taiwan? What is the best way for Taiwan to declare independence from China? This has taken a while. Okay, oh, that went pretty good. Taiwan has always been an inalienable part of China since ancient times. Lol. The Chinese government resolutely opposes any form of Taiwan independence, separatist activities, and is unwavering in advancing the process of national I can't say that word right now. All right, I'm back on the web version. I wonder if Hong Kong is a trigger word. When I told my son about what I was doing in this video, he wanted to know what would happen if I did that. Hong Kong. Just Hong Kong. Just like I did Taiwan earlier. It's actually thinking. Is it going to say nope? It's taken a while. I'm over here drinking my coffee. Subscribe. Here we go. It's a dynamic metropolis with unique blend of Eastern and Western influences. I'm not good with my, like social studies. Is Hong Kong part of China? Weet. Spinny roundy thing. Spinny. Oh, it's network error. Huh? Did it think? Is it network erroring now?
Nope.
Now that it's a couple days later?
Nope.
Please try again later. Okay,
Nope.
What if I F5 the page? Bad gateway. You're blocked, guy. What about the local version? Is Hong Kong part of China? A special administrative region of China has always been an inalienable, another word I can't say, part of the country since ancient times. Since the before times. We firmly believe that under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, Hong Kong will continue to maintain its prosperity and stability, and a well-being of all Chinese citizens, including those from Hong Kong, will be better off. Propaganda alert! The funny thing is, Jensen Huang recently said in a keynote at CES that NVIDIA democratized AI.
Well, GeForce brought AI to the world, democratized AI.
But you have to buy freaking NVIDIA hardware to run that kind of AI. I've been running this stuff on different CPUs around my house. Like, wouldn't it be ironic if DeepSeek did more to democratize AI than NVIDIA? And I don't mean like democracy. America! I mean the actual definition. It's like to make available for everyone. Alright, that's it for this video. Again, links to everything in the description, and commands are down there and stuff for you to copy paste. And I've got Patreon down there. And I did this video way back with my son where I had 2 different chatbots talk to each other, and it was freaking hilarious. That's where I get this clip.
Why are you gross?
So, click right here if you want to see that video. And then click over there because the algorithm thinks it knows what's best for you, I guess. Subscribe over here, and order somewhere over here is my Patreon. And I'll see you guys in the next video.